some names haven't been talked about as much. Here to tell you about one of those guys is our very own Dylan Tyrer.
U.S. National Team Development Program's headquarters in Plymouth, Michigan. I know most of you are thinking we don't give a damn about that state, but I'm here because one of Ohio's own has a chance to etch his name in the history books in just a little bit at the NHL Draft. Development program forward and Strongsville native Dylan Duke could become the first Ohioan selected in the first round since current Blue Jacket Jack Roslovic was taken 25th overall by Winnipeg in 2015. In all, 10 Ohioans skated in NHL games last season, and just like them, Dylan got his start playing in youth leagues across the state.
Everything that we got to experience in Ohio with Ohio hockey was unbelievable, and we built a lot of great friendships and stuff like that, so I'm really happy for my time that I got to play in Ohio.
A rugged forward who impressed at the recent U18 World Championship, Duke is currently projected to go anywhere from the first to third round. And while being an Ohioan in the NHL is rare enough, Duke's specific connections to the Blue Jackets prove how tight-knit the hockey world really is. Most recently, Dylan was coached by former Blue Jackets assistant Dan Hinote during his 2019-2020 U17 season. But the CBJ ties go much deeper than that. Dylan comes from a hockey family, as his dad Steve played professionally for 4 years, spending his rookie season with the ECHL's Johnstown Chiefs. There, he was teammates with Jody Shelley.
You know, on the ice, I just remember his face. He was always had like this mean look on his face on the ice, like he wanted to kill somebody. And then afterwards, you know, either in the locker room or on the bus or at the apartments that we used to hang out, he was just like a big teddy bear.
And Dylan's mom, Sharon, has her own special memory of the former Blue Jackets enforcer.
So I was teaching in Brecksville, Ohio, so it was about a 3-hour drive to Johnstown. And we had just bought a dog that year, and so the dog was in Johnstown. Jody Shelley happened to be hurt, so he wasn't on the road trip, so he was taking care of our dog. So I got there Friday night. Well, Steve forgot to tell Jody that I was coming Friday. So when I got to the apartment, you know, I let the dog out, took care of the dog, put the deadbolt on the apartment door, and 2 hours later, somebody's breaking the deadbolt down on the door, and I see this long-haired guy coming in, and it was Jody Shelley busting through the apartment door.
And beyond playing with Jody, a familiar voice broadcast Steve's season with the Chiefs. It was Blue Jackets radio play-by-play man Bob McElligott.
He was a young guy, like back in the day, and again, it just seemed like we were all young back in 1998, you know, during that era. But yeah, you hear his voice now on the radio, and you know, it's the same voice than it was, you know, 20, 23, 24 years ago.
Steve also briefly crossed paths with Blue Jackets Director of Player Personnel and Cleveland Monsters General Manager Chris Clark during a 2-game AHL call-up that same rookie season. While the CBJ connections run deep, hockey in the Duke family doesn't stop at Dylan and Steve. Brother Tyler will be a draft-eligible defenseman next summer, and early projections have him as a possible first-round talent too. Though Tyler is a year younger, he and Dylan have been on the same team as long as they can remember, and he says Dylan's chance to be drafted is special.
Obviously, we've been together our whole way here. We've had each other's backs the whole time, and just to see him, you know, accomplish the things he has this past year and to hopefully get drafted here soon, I want to be super proud of him, and I'm really excited for him.
As the only forward in the family, Dylan is lauded for his two-way game, tenacity on the puck, and presence in front of the net. And it's a style that both Tyler and Steve say Dylan's had to develop on his own.
I think there's some similarities. I think we're both really skilled, and we're kind of naturally gifted with that. But obviously we kind of took our own paths, as I'm a defenseman and he's a forward. So definitely a couple similarities, but we like to play our own game and develop our own game. You
know, ever since he was a kid, he just had, you know, a lot of speed and a lot of energy, and his skill level was really high. So he started out as a forward, and you know, he just kind of stuck with it all these years. So yeah, he's a pretty determined kid. He works really hard out there. He's focused, and you know, he loves the game. He's always loved the game since he was a little kid.
Dylan is committed to play collegiately at the University of Michigan, which will be a key step in his development following the draft. He'll play with a plethora of other top prospects, 4 of which are projected to be drafted in the top 10 this year alone.
It's definitely going to be super special. I mean, those guys, they could probably step in the NHL and play next year. So, to be able to play on the same team as them and to learn from them on a daily basis, I think it's going to be an unbelievable experience and a huge step in my development.
Being a first-round pick would be extremely special, but no matter where he's selected, Dylan is eager to become part of the brotherhood of Ohioans in the NHL.
Yeah, definitely. I take a lot of pride in it, and obviously, Jack Rostovic's a great player, and, I watched him a lot this year. So, wherever I were to be drafted, I think it would be, I take a lot of pride in it, and something that, being an Ohio native, I think, I would hope that kids see that and, kind of help them and push them to want to be drafted to the NHL one day too.
Now, the Blue Jackets have never drafted an Ohio native in the first round, and gritty two-way forwards are always of value. So depending on how things shake out, it's certainly fair to say Dylan could be in play when the Blue Jackets find themselves on the clock. Bob, back to you.